This is the S25 Ultra, the fastest, thinnest, strongest, most advanced and packed Samsung Galaxy ever, but it doesn't feel like it, and let me show you why. Now, I was lucky enough to get early hands-on with the S25 Ultra, and out of all the new features Samsung had to show us, these three stood out to me. First, we snapped a couple different pics and they showed us a new editing trick called Best Face, where it takes your different facial expressions from a burst of shots and then you can decide to swap out your expression or even change the expression of the other people in the pic like I did with SuperSaf. It's quite fun. This has been on Pixel phones for a while, but now we got it on the S25. Second, inside the Samsung browser, when you tap the Galaxy AI icon, there is now this new option to read highlights out aloud, which does exactly that and reads out what is on your screen.
SpaceX is superb at reusing boosters, but how about building upper stages?
This is a feature we've seen on iPhones for a while, but now we got it on the S25. And third is a new video editing feature called Audio Erase, where essentially it listens to the audio on your video, identifies all the different sounds in it, and then gives you the option to enhance or minimize those sounds. Which is cool, but again, this is something that's been on iPhone and Pixels for a while now. But here's something that hasn't. So Samsung's AI has been good from day one, and it is no different here. In the Edge panel is a couple new AI features that are ready to use. Like this one, AI Select. It's similar to what used to be Smart Select, but it is way more aware of what's on your screen, so depending on what you select, you'll get a couple different action clicks, like taking this picture directly into Draw Assist, which used to be called Sketch to Image, but now it's inside Draw Assist. Honestly, it can get a bit confusing, but we move on. So this is Samsung's version of an image generator. You can choose from a couple different styles like 3D cartoon and generates a completely new pic, or you can add a text prompt, which is really cool. And honestly, I was super impressed with the results. Like, that's a great looking lion with a crown. Another thing I managed to test out was the upgraded Portrait Studio, which has a slightly new look and feel, but still all the same styles. And honestly, the experience just feels so much better. Plus, the results are too, because now each generation seems to be a bit more similar compared to the original, and you can also add text prompts in here too. Like, I just typed in wearing a crown and the result was not bad. So I mean, essentially you get the option to completely manipulate and generate pretty much anything now. What I also really like is inside the keyboard they showed us this new sticker generator. So I typed in a lion in a teacup. Again, there's a few different styles, and in a couple seconds here's what it gave me: a completely custom sticker. That's really cool. Now, I'm not so sure whether you can generate stickers of yourself yet, but definitely make sure you subscribe for my tips and tricks video, because I'll be going into a lot more depth on all these features. Something else Samsung spent a lot of time on was this Now Brief. They mentioned it uses AI to crawl our apps and info to create a brief summary of our day. What's nice is you can decide on which apps this feature has access to, and apparently it's all done on device. I am super curious to see just how good or bad this feature ends up being, but I do love that this is something I've never seen before.
Bad girls make me say wow. Wow.
Now this I have seen before. The cameras. And the only thing you need to know is this camera over here has gone from a 12 megapixel to a 50 megapixel. Everything else is the same. But that does mean we should get brighter, sharper, and higher quality pics and videos. What has got to be the highlight though of this upgrade is within the camera settings, under advanced video options, you now get the choice to record in log. Basically giving you super high quality 8K cinematic log footage, which is a game changer. So for content creators or pro phone videographers, this is an epic update. But for the rest of us, I do just wonder if this is enough to justify upgrading from, let's say, the S23 or S24 Ultra. Something else I noticed when zooming in and out and switching between the lenses, it is just so much smoother now. And they have kept the standard zoom length options, but they also added a zoom slider, which I much prefer and I think a lot more people are going to enjoy using. I mean, look at how smooth that is. Now we have got to talk about the biggest surprise, and that is the S25 Ultra's S Pen. For the first time ever, Samsung actually downgraded the S Pen and removed the battery for another feature. But that means no more Bluetooth, no more air gestures, and no more using it as a shutter button. So yeah, that kind of sucks. Okay, out the box, when holding down the lock button, it'll now activate Google Gemini, where you can ask it pretty much anything like, show me the nearest pet-friendly coffee shop, and it'll give you some good options. But at the same time, you can still use Bixby, which seems to have had a big upgrade as well. I'll definitely do more digging, but yes, there's now 2 built-in assistants basically. Of course, there is so much to get into when it comes to both of these assistants, but to simplify, it's a lot like how Siri uses ChatGPT for more complex questions and tasks. Bixby just uses Gemini. Alright, now aside from all the software and feature upgrades, the chip has also had a major bump up with the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip made for Samsung. I'm really going to enjoy putting this to the test, but I do know it's now the fastest chip in any mobile phone, and as you can imagine, that means everything is fast. Like, a lot faster. It also means that some of the AI features like the Now Brief, maybe AI Select, and the improved Gemini and Bixby integration will only be available on the S25 range. So if you were hoping to get those features in a future update, you might just have to upgrade to one of the S25s. The other big perk of this chip is that you get around an extra hour of battery life, which, I mean, that's always a win in my book. Okay, so as you guys can see, the design might not have changed drastically, but there are still a few interesting tweaks. This is now the thinnest Ultra device, so now it's only 8.3 millimeters thick. The bezels are also perfectly symmetrical all the way around and slightly thinner. It also has a slightly more squared off look compared to previous models. There are 0 changes to the battery size and 0 changes to the charging speeds, which I don't know how to feel about that. The S25 Ultra comes in these 4 subtle but classy colors, and the S25 Base and Plus come in these 4 colors. As for the pricing, to my surprise, the S25 range is sticking to the exact same pricing as last year's models. However, the base S25 gets another storage option, so it now also comes in 512 gigs. But also remember, the S24 Ultra is now even cheaper. So if you did ever want this phone, which it is still a perfect option, then now is probably the best time to go for it. So that's the Galaxy S25 Ultra. It's definitely not the biggest upgrade I've ever seen, and it feels like Samsung could have done just a little bit more, but whether or not it's worth upgrading really depends on what you're coming from. But for those looking for improved cameras and the fastest chip in any phone, the S25 Ultra definitely has its perks. As you can imagine, I cannot wait to dive into all these new features in my upcoming tips and tricks video, so make sure you subscribe to catch that. And as always, let me know down in the comment section what you guys think of the S25 lineup, and I'll catch you in the next one. Toodles!